Well, we are back, gentlemen. It's Finders Flippers time again this evening, and I am Wes from the Slim Flippers. And we have Stewart from Franklin Hill Ventures and Mr. Johnny from Frizzy's Finds back in the house. How's everybody doing?
What's up, guys?
How you doing? Great, Wes.
Doing great.
Good to be back.
It's been a few days since we've talked last. I'm glad to have you guys back in here on the round table, the reseller round table.
Hey, Johnny, so did you survive the hurricane down there in Florida?
Yeah, we were good actually. Our weather was pretty nice. We got in just after it was all over. My buddy got he lives on the canal, so he got a bunch of water, but by the time we got there, everything had gone back to normal. So they were pretty good.
Well, see, I was kind of thinking about you. I've got the Island Feel shirt here.
I dig it. I like it.
This was a weekend pickup that we found in a yard sale. So, we got a few of these little items. So I decided to wear this from the night in honor of your being in Florida.
Appreciate that.
It's a nice nod to Jimmy Buffett too. So
it is a nice nod to Jimmy Buffett. Bless his heart.
So I had been to 2 of his concerts before, but don't remember any of them.
Oh, you don't remember? Oh, well, I understand.
I actually lost a tooth.
Ooh,
Jimmy Buffett concert.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure you're not unique in that. I'm sure there are Jimmy Buffett concerts who don't remember them. So, yeah, we used to do just a quick story. Whenever I was in Nashville, first moved to Nashville in the early '90s, my roommate and I, we had a big Jimmy Buffett party every year before he'd come to Starwood. We'd rent a limo and cook out and take the limo to the show, and kind of similar. There was probably a lot of alcohol involved in those parties, and but yeah, I mean, I miss those days. That was cool seeing him at Starwood, and that of all the celebrity deaths here recently, I think that one hit me harder than others, just because, I mean, he's one of the few band guys who's died who I really followed and listened to a lot. So
right. So, Stewart, have you made it over to the fair yet? Over in Knoxville?
No, I have not. Now, at this point, I'm not sure if we'll make it or not. I can't even remember the last time I went to the one here in Knoxville, probably when I was in high school. So,
well, I threw up a little Instagram video. I made it over there Saturday. I had to go watch my granddaughter dance. And I went into Jacob's building. Boy, there's quite some menagerie of boots in there for sale. Quite a bit of them, actually. But so, Johnny, tell us about your adventures. Did you get a chance to source while you were in Florida?
Yeah, that's almost all we did. Oddly enough, we spent more time in thrift stores than beaches. So, not sure how life has changed. But so. We had gone to Florida a couple months ago, and Frizzy had found a Louis Vuitton purse for $7 that she resold for $1,500. So she was just itching to get back to that store, just thinking that there's always $1,500 purses on sale. So we went, got off the plane, got the rental car, didn't even see anybody, drove straight to this thrift store where we spent hours. I mean, just hours, because she's going through every single rack and everything. But found some good stuff. It was a lot of like clothing and stuff like that. Went to a couple Goodwill bins. Didn't find a ton, but found enough to pay some bills for sure.
There you go.
Awesome.
There you go. Now, Stewart, I've been seeing you a lot already this week on different things that you're doing on Instagram. You have a couple of shows, and didn't you say you did something on Whatnot?
No, not well. I mean, I do Whatnot shows, and I do a Monday morning Whatnot show every week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and it's just a chat show. I'm not actively selling, although I've got stuff in my bio now, and I think last week I sold a couple of jars of my Franklin Hill Farms jellies. But we just get together for 30 minutes, and really I just answer people's questions about Whatnot or reselling in general. talk about some of the things I found over the weekend. And, it just ends up being, it's a good way to start my week. As we've talked about before, being a reseller, especially if you're a full-time one, it can be kind of a lonely life. I mean, your social outlets are, few and far between. So that helps get my morning or my week kicked off on a positive note, just having, feel like I'm among friends chatting. And then, I do another show on Thursday, but it's only for List Perfectly subscribers. They have a platform called Listing Party, and they're basically Zoom meetings is what they are. But me and another guy, Brian, we have the BS show, the Brian and Stewart show. And our format on that one's top 5 stuff, top 5 list. We'll do like top 5 sourcing outlets, top 5. It's not always reselling. We did top 5 80s bands the week before last, and we've done like top 5 reselling tools. And just in general, I've tried to get more active with making some videos and things of that nature, whether it's shorts on Instagram and YouTube or full length YouTube videos. So
that's what I'm trying to do too. I'm trying to get those YouTube shorts going. For me, they're kind of fun to make. I mean, just you flip them up there and they're quick. If you got some quick content or something that you want to say. So I started that one the other day with my granddaughter. She got a kick out of looking at herself on it. So, but yeah, that's really neat. So let's dive in since we're there at that topic. Let's dive into our top 5 80 bands if you want to. How about it?
Sure. I mean,
right, so who y'all got? Who you got? Number 5.
I think
number 5.
Go ahead. You gonna start us out, Wes, or do you need to think about it a second?
I don't need to think about it. I mean, there's several of them. Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, which was here last night in Knoxville. Did you get to go to that?
I did not go to that, but I had a friend who went, and he said it was really good.
John, we lost you?
I mean, I would probably have to think. So I'm a sucker for a good power ballad. I really got a kick out of the hair bands. But I mean, I think you would have Poison on that list, right? I mean, if you're talking just 80s.
Well,
yeah. I mean, if you like the power ballads, they got Every Rose Has a Thorn. That was a pretty big power ballad for Poison.
It's funny you mentioned Poison because back in 1988, this girl I was dating, her friend was dating a guy that was at WIMZ in Knoxville, and he got us backstage passes over to Stokely Athletic Center, which where the UT used to play in, and now it's gone. But we went backstage, and we're back in this room, and all of a sudden I look up, and here comes the band, and Brett Michaels walked up to me. He's probably, I don't know, he's probably 5'6", 5'7". I'm not sure how tall he is. I'm 6'6", so he's looking at me. He goes, "Dude, man, you're tall." So we sat out there about the 12th row in the center section on the floor and watched that concert. And we got to talk to them like an hour before they came out.
That's cool.
So I have to put, for that reason, I'm gonna have to put Poison on my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, they were a solid band. I mean, and Brett Michaels, he's still got a good voice today.
He does. They put
Vince Neil, who's lost a lot of his voice.
Who?
Said Vince Neil from Motley Crue. He's lost a lot of his voice, but Brett Michaels, he still sounds good. Yeah, it's funny. You got a Poison story. I don't have a Poison story, but my wife's roommate in college dated one of the Poison roadies. So she got to go on their tour bus when I think it was in Nashville, maybe. I'm not sure where it was. It was either Nashville or Knoxville, but yeah, they got to go backstage and actually go on the Poison tour bus. She's got pictures of herself on all the, with each of the band members. I think she put them on her Facebook page the other day for something or another, but so that's not my brush with Poison, but my wife's brush with Poison. So,
well, their lead guitarist, and I can't remember his name.
CC DeVille.
I guess that's who it was. He was in a small little closet off to the room where we were at. It's like a janitor's closet, and he was tuning his guitar. And I was standing there watching him. He looked up at me, and he just smiled. I said, "Sorry, man, I don't mean to bother you." He goes, "No, you're good. Go ahead." I sit there and listen to him play some of those songs, acoustic style. I mean, he was just absolutely wearing it out. He was just trying to get his guitar tuned in. And I turned back around and I asked, let's see, the drummer, I said, man, you got any drumsticks? And he goes, I've got one on me right here. And he just gave it to me. But I got an autograph from Brett Michaels. And he goes, man, we're going to rock it out for you tonight, man. Appreciate you all. It was a interesting moment in my life for sure. But I ended up, a guy that I went to college with, I came back. He knew I was going to the concert that night. I gave him the stick and I gave him the autograph. He was a major fan. So I said, here you go, man. I said, I'm good. I met him. I don't need anything else, you know?
How old are you, Johnny?
I'll be 40.
Okay, so you were more like a 90s. You were probably more of a 90s band person.
Yeah, but so I had, my sisters are older, like 8 and 6 years older than I am. So like I took the 80s still pretty hard, you know.
Yeah.
So who else we got on this list?
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny because, you know, you started bringing up hard rock bands. I mean, and I liked all the hard rock bands. I saw a lot of them in concert. AC/DC was still one of my favorite concerts I ever saw. But when I did my top 5 list versus Brian, my co-host, top 5 list, his was pretty much all heavy metal bands. And he was in like a heavy metal band when he was in high school and college, I think. But mine were more new wave type stuff. Like I had Duran Duran on there. I had REM was my number one. I mean, they're my all-time favorite band. Them and the Beach Boys are my two favorite bands of all time. I think I had 10,000 Maniacs in my list. Hall & Oates was in my list. And I can't remember who the 5th one was right now, but you know, all the ones he listed, I loved all them too. I mean, he had Journey in there, and I mean, I almost put Journey in my list, but then we kind of had different interpretations of the rules. I was trying to pick bands that started in the 80s, you know, and Journey was really as much a 70s band as they were an 80s band. You know, a lot of their early.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Kind of what the determining factor of an 80s band is, because like, where do you put like Aerosmith?
Well, you know, commercially they're, you know, just like Journey. I mean, commercially they probably had their biggest success in Aerosmith, even on, you know, late 80s, early 90s was when they had some of their songs, you know, after they were going out on stage on a walker almost. You know, I mean, there's definitely bands, you know, you can't separate 70s and 80s on some of them, just they started late 70s. I mean, Hall & Oates, I put them on my list, but they actually started in the 70s as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun topic. The 80s is still, I mean, that was, and Wes can probably identify with this. I mean, the 80s was the prime of my life, you know, and it's, I won't say it's all been downhill from there because, I mean, I've had a lot of good stuff happen with my marriage and my kids and everything else. But, you know, the 80s were still, I mean, that was the time of my life. It's when I was in high school and college and, you know, just had such a blast during the 80s.
Well, I'd have to have Journey on there for sure. You know, 70s, 80s. Okay, well, you can glue them both together, whatever. Poison, but I'm also, and this goes to our Finders Flippers name. I'm a major Leonard Skinner band lover because it's I've seen them 4 times. My brother has seen them. I think he's seen them like 23, 24 times.
Wow,
he's seen it a lot. But for my number one, it would be Leonard Skinner, hands down.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid choice too. And I mean, and you know, I would probably my top 3 would probably be just if you go across all genres and years and everything else would be REM, Beach Boys, and Jimmy Buffett. I mean, those are, you know, and I've seen Jimmy Buffett at least 10 times in concert, I think. So, I mean, he puts on one of the best shows I've ever seen. So.
Well, I just realized I had the wrong banner up there, so now I've got it changed. Sorry.
Have you guys ever like resold music stuff before, like concert tees, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you ask. Like, I have a really good outlet for any band tees in my booth, specifically my one in Clinton at Granny's Attic, and it doesn't even have to be vintage stuff. In fact, if I get vintage stuff, I'm more likely to sell it online. But I can stick any band T-shirt out at Clinton. You know, it can be one that came from TJ Maxx or Walmart or whatever, and I put $16 on it. It sells. So I pick a lot of them up at the thrift shops, and I don't even care if they're old. And I mean, I'm not looking to see if they're single stitched or anything till I get home. Like I did sell, I think the best concert tees I've ever sold. I found a 1982 Alabama Mountain Music Tour shirt, and I think I sold it for like $75. And then I sold some WWF before they changed to WWE. I had a couple of the WrestleMania shirts that I found at a thrift shop, and they sold. One of them sold for $75, and the other one for like $150. And the reason the one sold for so much is because it was like one of the few ones that had ever featured female wrestlers like on the shirt as part of the main event. So, but they were both. One was 2 years before they changed the name, and the other one was like the year before they changed to WWE. But
we were at
go ahead, John.
We were at the Goodwill one day, and I was just kind of going through the racks in the men's clothes, and saw this like Ralph Lauren polo, just like a button down or whatever. So I went to put it off the take it off the rack and just like, you know, look at it better. And I was like, oh, there's another shirt inside, you know. So I took the buttons out, and it was a Rammstein shirt, which is like that screamo German band or whatever it is. But it was a world tour shirt from like last year or the year before. And, you know, just whatever. I'm going to look it up and see what it goes for. Hundreds. Ended up selling it for $200.
Wow.
And literally was looking at the polo shirt that it was tucked inside of.
That's great. Have you ever looked at, and I think we've talked about this before, but you go back and look at pictures of yourself and things that's in the pictures. I mean, like I don't know where they are, but I've had pictures of me. I was in a Poison shirt that I'd bought from that concert. Boy, I'd love to have that thing now.
80s, you know? 80s concert tees that's some big money in most cases.
Well, I've got a big money in a picture, so.
So my sister's first ever concert was Milli Vanilli. And so that's what, like 88, 89, somewhere in there. And I remember being a kid, and she had a concert shirt, and she just would wear it around like every day. And I remember just being like 6 and just so jealous that they went to a concert, and just wonder, like, I wonder what a Milli Vanilli concert tee goes for.
Well, I remember when all that debacle came out, you remember they brought the steamrollers in and they crushed all them CDs and all that stuff. It was just that was a mess, you know. It makes you wonder, though, what it would go for now.
Mm-hmm. And then I remember my uncle, I was still too little. My uncle took my sisters to a Metallica Guns N' Roses like stadium tour in like, I don't know, 92. And I'm like, God, shirts from that have just got to be like, I mean, I can't even imagine how much they go for.
I mean, you travel back in time, man, you go up to the kiosk and you're like, give me 50 of those shirts.
Yeah, and stick them in a plastic bag and don't take them out till now. I I was always too cheap to buy the shirts because they were so expensive.
Well, I mean, the Poison concert, I had to get something. I mean, I was like, you know what? I've met these guys. I've got to grab something. And I couldn't tell you for the life of me whatever happened to that shirt. I have no idea. But. So
I went to, I lived in Texas for 1 year, and George Strait was coming to Louisiana, and it was like an hour and a half from where I was in Texas. And so, you know, I wanted to see him. And he had with Ronnie Millsap, and Taylor Swift was the opening act. She only had like one song at that time. And she was doing meet and greets. Like, people were taking photos with her. And, you know, she's just like some little girl with one song. Like, you don't think twice about it. But you're just like, man, if you only knew, you should have picked up just a couple of those Taylor Swift shirts.
Yep. Yeah. That is very, very true. Very true.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I heard somebody on a podcast or something the other day talking about their daughter was lucky enough to get tickets to the Taylor Swift concert, and I guess they popped a bunch of confetti, and she grabbed as much of the confetti as she could and sold it on eBay. For pretty big money. I don't know how I don't know if she sold it with her ticket stub maybe or something, but
so have some sort of special lining on it or something. I mean, because you can go to Walmart and get the confetti,
Now, do either one of y'all do anything with vinyl records? Do y'all sell any vinyl?
I have them. I haven't sold any yet.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I sell. I sell those out of all three of my booths, and they do really well. That's one of my bread and butter items. I tend not to sell them online unless I find like a sealed one or something, because I mean, most of the ones that people are going to buy online are going to be more collector grade. And, I'm buying out whole people's collections, and they've been well listened to, but just kind of like the shirts where I slap 16 on the shirts or 18 if it's like Led Zeppelin or a band like that. Pretty much all my vinyl gets $8 slapped on it. And, it's kind of cost averaging. Some of them might be worth a little more, but they're not, none of them are in what I would call mint condition. Some of them are worth a little less, but I sell them all for $8, and it kind of works out, and people feel like they get a good deal if they find one of my Led Zeppelin albums I stick in there or something. But, yeah, vinyl's probably, I would say it's my biggest bread and butter item at my booth. It's a consistent seller. I've just got to, I'm always looking to buy out people's collections. So
I always felt like I wouldn't know how to ship them. And I don't know enough about it to commit to buying boxes, specifically sized boxes for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and people, I do know if you're selling albums that are not sealed, like if they've been opened but they're still in good enough shape to sell online, the people who buy them are typically very particular about how you ship them. They want you to take the record out, and package it separately, because if you leave it in there, it moves around and it could cut the cardboard. And then, obviously for a sealed record, you can't do that. But for the few times I sell them, I bought a bunch of record mailers, they're specifically made for that. And just so
that's
the most
with the mailers. Yeah.
I mean, the two records that come to mind that I actually sold online were, I had a sealed. Do y'all remember Petra, the Christian rock band from the 80s? I don't know if y'all remember Petra. They were like a big Christian rock band in the 80s, but I found a sealed copy of that at a thrift store, and I didn't really know it was worth that much. But when I started looking it up, I mean, I ended up selling it for like $75 on eBay. And then I found a Flying Burrito Brothers. I'm not sure if y'all have heard of them. It was a band. It was a 60s band, and it was started by some guys who were in the Byrds. But it was like a first pressing of that record, and I sold it for like a 125 or something. But if you are looking to sell records, I don't know if you've ever been out to Discogs. That's where you can go and you can figure out what pressing your record is, because that makes a big difference in price. But it has a database of like every record that's ever been recorded, and you can go in and it'll show you what to look for in the run out, where they stamp the numbers and stuff, and you can figure out, do I have a first pressing, do I have a 16th pressing, was it made here, made there? And that's a really good resource if you are looking to get into vinyl.
Well, Stewart, you had mentioned when I went off camera there, and this is, we're using this StreamYard thing, so this is like my second or third one on this. I'm getting used to it. But I like the fact when you do go away, your emblem shows up there. So that's cool. But you had mentioned this group earlier. Check this one out.
Yep.
Daryl Hall and John Oates. See?
Yeah, I remember that record.
Yep. I've got a few of these. I got to show you these. Johnny, I don't know if you're going to know who this is or not. You see it?
Oh, Marty Robbins. Yeah. He had that El Paso song, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Now, I'm sure that you all will know this one for sure.
The Beatles.
The Beatles. Abbey Road. Check that out. That's one of my favorites right there. I got two of those. And then Johnny, here's another one we mentioned, Johnny, and you, Stewart. I think Stewart mentioned this one too.
A little Journey there.
Journey. Pick that up. But yeah, I mean, I've got my own record player here at the house. That's a great way to check them and enjoy them at the same time, right?
Yep. Yeah, I had one of those USB turntables you could plug into your computer and record the vinyl off. But
oh yeah,
I used to do that anytime I'd find cool records at yard sales. But of course now, with Spotify and everything, you can listen to any song on demand, and it's just not worth the time or effort to do it.
That's true.
I think a lot of it's cool as art.
Start selling more vinyl. I would like to do that. But Stewart, you're kind of tucked in behind the Finders Flippers thing.
There we go. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Your logo's too big, Wes.
Well, I don't know how to trim it down yet. It's not my logo; it's our logo. Because you can't read it, but it says Finders Flippers Resell Podcast.
So I guess since this is a resale podcast, we should probably mention something about reselling.
Well,
John,
I mean, we did mention stuff.
I thought we did pretty good.
Actually, yeah, we got off onto a nice little discussion about selling music stuff. So we did check off that box. But I was going to ask, what was y'all's? Did y'all find anything cool? I mean, you were down in Florida sourcing. Did you either one of y'all find anything?
I found
really cool.
I found free USPS priority boxes for sale at the Goodwill.
It kills me when they sell those since they're free.
I'm like,
it
really?
was $6.99 or $5.99 for four USPS shoe boxes.
They probably, I guess they truly don't know that those are, that you can get them for free. I mean, I'm guessing they're not sitting there, we're going to try to sell this free thing in here.
Yeah, I had made a short about it, and a lot of people were like, they're so greedy. And I was like, I don't even think it's greed. I think someone's in the back, they saw a thing of boxes and was like, I don't know, $6. And you just put it out. Like, I don't think it was like somebody saying like, we can't put these out. And the manager's like, yes, money. Like, I think they just didn't know.
Well, I know resellers who don't know you can get free boxes from the post office. So, my guess is it was an honest mistake. They see, hey, here's a shipping box. Somebody might want to ship something, so we'll sell this. Now hopefully somebody told them, hey, you can get these for free at the post office. So you probably shouldn't be selling them.
Now
Johnny's got them up for $28.85.
Yeah. So I went right down to USPS, ordered a whole bunch of them, and just started listing them.
Let's get those on quickest.
I was like, dang, there were $2 a piece. I got an endless supply.
Yeah, hey man, this is just like Wes's Beanie Babies. Let's get them things on there.
How about you, Wes? You find anything?
No. Honestly, I've in the last 3 weekends, I've only gone to 2 yard sales.
Well, I don't know about in South no, you live in Loudon, but I don't know.
No, I live over near Maryville.
Okay. Yeah, and I've seen quite a few yard sales over there. I know here in West Knoxville, they've been few and far between. But so, of course, this weekend, there's at least 3 neighborhood yard sales all within a couple of miles of me. So it's we had a breaker or something mess up for our patio, and been trying to get the electrician out here. The only time they could come was tomorrow or Friday between 7 and 11. So I'm hoping I'm gonna call them tomorrow and make sure they're gonna call me before they head out, so I can at least go to some of these close neighborhoods if they're not going to be there, before 8. But I'm thinking of all the things. The first weekend looks like there's a bunch of yard sales. I got an electrician coming. Then I got to work at my antique mall on Saturday, so I won't get to do a lot of yard selling that day either.
So I was watching last week and was yelling because I just think yard sales are trash, and they are not on my list of places to source trash.
So if you were watching, and we were live, so why did you not just?
Well, all I had was my iPad, and I didn't know how it was going to work or hold up, so.
Okay.
I didn't want to come in shoddy, but I was watching. I was yelling.
Hey, Stewart, I got a thing. When you do go your next sourcing trip, I got something in the Knoxville area. I got something you can wear around there. Here you go.
It's funny. Of course, I had two kids who went to Alabama, and I was proud of my son, though. He got his master's at UT after he graduated from Alabama, but he got rid of all his Alabama clothes except one. He kept one shirt just in case, but he's pretty much come back to the orange now.
There you go. I did pick those up, so I got one Alabama and 4 Tennessee, so I'll be selling these real soon, especially if they win this weekend against Florida, right?
So did I tell you guys that I told you guys about how my buddy and I went to Knoxville last year and the Gator tickets were too expensive? So after the game was over, we were just at a bar and it was parent week, and a group of moms came over and they're like, "Oh, were you here for Parents Week?" we're like, oh, maybe it was like, maybe it's time to go.
You should have looked there and said, "Ma'am, do you really think that I'm old enough to have a kid in college? I mean, really?"
I never felt older.
I guess you could, but
Yeah, maybe started early, but it's like, really.
Every one of our kids is out of school now. My wife even reminded me, like when all the back to school stuff was going on, this was the first time in 22 years that we did not have a kid starting school of some sort, whether it be, elementary school up to college. So we're, completely free and clear of all the school stuff now. So, it was exciting on one hand. It was a little sad on the other to think, that's it. They're gone now. So.
Do any of your kids do any of the reselling stuff?
Not really. Now, my son, he moved to Nashville, and I may have mentioned this in one of the other episodes. He's been going to the Goodwill bins more to find stuff for himself than to resell. Now my youngest daughter, she's been doing a little bit of Poshmark stuff, just to her clothes that she had from high school and stuff and college that she's been selling off. But no, nobody's really gotten into it, to any degree of, doing much with it.
I always wondered what the Goodwill bins would be like if you were going for the sole purpose of yourself. Like, we go obviously to resell, and then like if Frizzy finds something and she likes it, she'll keep it for herself. I don't wear thrifted stuff, but I just wonder what it would be like if you're just on the hunt for yourself.
Well,
I've totally changed my attitude about wearing thrifted stuff.
Really? I can't do it.
I do. I don't.
Oh, I wear a lot of thrifted stuff, but it's so funny. I get so focused when I go to, whether it's yard sales or thrift shops or estate sales or anything that have clothes. I don't even think about looking for stuff for myself. Now, every once in a while, if I need a pair of shorts, I'll go look, see if they have any 38s, just to make sure. But for the most part, everything I'm looking at is just can I sell this? Can I sell this? Can I sell this? And and then it's funny, Amy will go yard selling with me, and she'll go over the clothes rack. Hey, this would look good on, you can wear this, it's your size. And I would have never even gone over there and looked probably if she wasn't with me. So.
I just think of somebody having farted in a pair of pants and then I bought them.
Hey, somebody could have returned a pair at the store too. So same thing.
It's true. It's all mental. It's all mental.
So you got to push that back, man. You got to let that go.
I'm sure I will at some point. You know what I need? I need to find something that I just have, like I can't let go, right? Like I have to have and I don't care. And then I think once you like rip the Band-Aid, so to speak, like then I can do it. But until then, it's all mental.
And that begs the question, have you all ever found anything that you just can't let go?
I don't sell my Jimmy Buffett concert t-shirts that I've found out. I don't have any left from when I actually used to buy them, but I've found like 3 or 4 at thrift shops. And I wear all those. I'm not going to sell those. So.
Well, when I find stuff that I think's cool, if it fits me like a glove, I'm keeping it for a while, but it's really got to fit me the way I like it. Cause I'm kind of weird about t-shirts anyway. But if it fits me perfect, I'm keeping it. But if not, I move it on down the road, but it's only your thought process. That's kind of funny.
I can't do it.
Now I will say where I draw the line. If you go into Ambets, I don't know if it's like this, the one in Maryville, and maybe every thrift shop does this. they'll have the tidy whities hung up on little hangers, and I'm like, you got to draw the line somewhere. I'm not buying thrifted underwear.
I'm not stepping in anybody else's underwear. I'm not. I'm not ever. So yeah, there's a line drawn for sure.
But like Frizzy will wear thrifted stuff. She loves it. She prefers it. My stepson, he'll wear it. Like everybody else will wear it. I'm just weird about it.
Okay, the next show we do, we all have to be in thrifted clothes.
Ugh.
I'm already there.
Hey, I can easily do that. So
I'll be. I have something, but I'll just wear something under it.
And that doesn't count. That doesn't count underwear, right, Wes? No, that doesn't count underwear.
No, yeah. It's got to be. Well, I do have a shirt underneath this one, I have to admit. So.
I had this. So we had gotten these Starbucks coffee mugs from a garage sale because we were going to sell them and didn't really comp them, and they didn't really go for anything. So they ended up in our cabinet, and I would always avoid it. I just in my head, I just couldn't drink from it. And then one day I was like, the difference between this and going to a restaurant.
I mean,
the difference is you've at least you've washed the mug yourself.
And and when I asked myself that and I really couldn't answer it, then I started to use it. So I need something like that for clothes.
Well, I mean, and that brings me to another thing. Do you wash your clothes that you source?
Yeah.
See, what's the problem?
I don't know. It's mental. At least I'm admitting it.
True. The second step is all right, everybody that's listening to this, won't you please give to Johnny?
Yeah. Play the Sarah McLachlan song.
So when you stay in hotels and stuff, will you walk around barefoot?
I don't like to be barefoot, period. So I always have something on my feet.
Okay.
Yes, folks, it's obvious. Johnny is a germaphobe.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I didn't know this was going to be an intervention.
I think what's happened to Stewart and I, we've been thrown up on. We've been everything with our kids.
Maybe that's what it is.
It just doesn't matter anymore because, I mean, my son was, a week old, and I'd give him a bottle, and I'd turn around, and I was just, making him laugh and looking at him. All of a sudden, he just went, Pah! I mean, he spit up warm milk all over me. I just
been there, done that.
Just like, oh my word. But yeah, that's quite the experience, isn't it, Stewart?
I'll tell you what, any germaphobe tendencies I might have went away in college because I lived in a couple of places that were, they were bad. So,
well,
and I don't know. It's just like. I don't know. It's not even a germaphobe thing. Like, I know it's clean. Like, I cleaned it, but I just picture like, okay, like this shirt, like what if there's a guy out there with a picture with his wife and he's wearing that shirt and now I'm wearing it. I don't know. It's all mental. I don't know.
Now listen, sir, when we go and we source over there in North Carolina, we're going to start throwing everything at him. Here, germs. How can you go and dig through all these?
The challenge is for Johnny to wear
because it's not a germ thing. It's not a germ thing. It's like I don't like used things. I don't know. I'm probably a snob. I'm probably just a snob.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well,
and I don't like. Well, like I said, like Frizzy wears it. My stepson wears it. Like, I don't judge them. I don't think of it. It's just not for me. It's like ketchup. A lot of people love ketchup. I don't like ketchup. It's just not for me.
All right. Yeah. And I did go dumpster diving today. It's funny. In our neighborhood, it's mostly, well, I won't say anymore, it's mostly, but there's a lot of older people who live in the neighborhood, and it's a transition neighborhood going from older people down to younger people. And when we moved in 17 years ago, we were literally the only young people in the neighborhood. Everybody else was old. And, but now it's the older people are dying off. they're putting their houses on the market, and what's happening is it's mostly flippers coming in. The houses are in good shape, like the I guess the skeletons and stuff. I mean, they were built in the 60s, and they're all brick, have big yards, so it's a very desirable neighborhood to move in. It's right here in Cedar Bluff, so close to everything. So you're getting a lot of flippers coming in and, buying these houses and basically completely gutting them. And, I guess they don't care. They just throw everything out. I mean, so Amy was out walking this morning and happened to see the dumpster. It looked like there was some light fixtures, lamps, whatever, sticking up out of the top. So she told me about it. So I went walking later and kind of saw the same thing, but all the workers were there. So I didn't really want to go do it while the workers were there, although I don't know that they'd have cared. So we went to eat Mexican tonight, and on our way back, we thought, we're going to stop over there at that house. And so, we're both like climbed up on the dumpster, digging through stuff, and found a nice chandelier with all the glass prisms on it. I mean, and just the prisms, even if the chandelier wasn't any good, the prisms do really well in our booth. There were probably at least, 200 prisms hanging on this lamp.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we got that, and then we got 3 other light fixtures that were probably from the 60s, just mid-century modern looking things. So, so that was our dumpster diving experience in the neighborhood.
What do you sell those prisms for? Like, how much do they go for?
They don't go for a lot. I think the last group of them I sold, I think I was selling them like $4 each, or 3 for 10, maybe something like that. But when you got zero cost of goods sold in something, and there's and we'll probably, in this case, the chandelier is pretty nice. We'll probably end up doing that. Here, I'll just show you a picture of here's the chandelier we got. And then a lot of the prisms had fallen off. So like there's the box of all the extra prisms, which I'll go through and try to put them back on. And then like just some kind of like mid-century looking light fixtures like that we picked out. And
that's a good old when in doubt, part it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I'll see like tomorrow I'll get the chandelier out and start seeing like how many prisms it's missing when all's said and done. Because we were literally having to dig because a lot of them had fallen off when they threw it in there, I guess. None of them had broke, but they're just hooked on there with little hooks. So, we found this bench. They had a wrought iron bench with the wood slats, and it was right next to the dumpster. Now, we didn't take it yet because we weren't 100% sure if it was being thrown away or just out there. But we're going to watch for that thing to go in the dumpster because it was nice. But, we were using that as a step stool. I'm hanging over the edge, trying to dig down in the bottom to see how many of these prisms I can pull out.
But
there's glass and stuff in there too. But
you've talked about at length several times about relationships, right? So you should go over there, and I would think those workers would care. They don't. What do they care? Just say, hey man, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a look, or instead of throwing something in the dumpster, just set it off to the side and let me take a look at it.
Yeah, I should have done that early on. I think everything's out of the house in the dumpster now. But you're right. I need to, with that much, at any given time, there's usually 2 or 3 houses being flipped in our neighborhood right now. So I probably do need to start just going up when I first see them starting there and say, hey, do you mind if you're going to pull all the fixtures out, you mind if I look at them, or give them my card with my phone number or something?
Right.
But I did have, speaking of relationships, I did get a phone call yesterday from a lady in the neighborhood. It just happened. It's somebody I'd bought some stuff from before, and she had been to her son's house in another state, and he had this. It was a picnic set from Federal Glass Company, probably from the 50s, I would guess, still in the original box, and it was four snack plates or dinner plates, then 4 mugs, 4 tumblers, an ashtray, and then 2 metal trays. And it had this barbecue chef on them. He was going to throw it in the dumpster, like one of those junk be gone dumpsters that he had in his driveway. And she's like, you don't need to throw that away. So she bought it back and called me. And so I ended up buying it from her. And I've got to go through and clean everything up because it's kind of nasty inside. But everything's like in like new condition from the standpoint of no chips or cracks. In fact, let me go grab one of the plates because they're really cool. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
We sold some Tupperware plates, but probably not as exciting as what Stewart has.
How much Tupperware do you have, by the way, John?
And now none. That was the rest of it.
That was it.
Yeah, it was like they were stackable plates, and so there was like 8 of them, and I don't know. I think we sold them for like $25 plus shipping. But we've picked some stuff up before, but not a ton.
Let's put all 3 of our cams. Here you go. Look here. Here you go. Put yours up.
Do I need to add a photo?
Yeah, you can just
I do.
See, yeah, you do.
upload your logo. So yeah, here's the tray from that set. So
Oh yeah, I saw that when you put that on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 trays. Like if this is the bigger one, then there's a smaller one, and then there's a set of the glasses. And then like here's the ashtray. And so it's got 4 plates, 4 mugs, 4 glasses, 2 trays. Seems like there may be something else I'm missing, but then it's got a stand like that you would set the tray on as well in the bottom of the box. But yeah, I mean, her son was just going to throw that thing in the dumpster. I mean, it's a whole complete, I've never seen a complete set. And I started looking at comps on that particular Federal pattern, and it seems to be pretty rare. I mean, like 4 of the plates were going for like 125, just the plates. So, you know, I've got to decide if I'm going to piece it out. I mean, if I've either got to put it in my booth as a complete set or sell it online pieced out. You know, if there's one part of me that always hates to piece out stuff like that, I mean, you find a complete set like that, it's so rare to be able to find that whole set that I hate to break it up. But on the flip side, if I put it in my booth and I can't sell it, you know, I can probably make more piecing it out than I could, because I'll probably put it in the booth and I'll probably put like 150 or 175 on it, you know, and maybe end up taking 125, something like that. You know, where if I piece it out, I can probably make more money. But the conservationist part of me hates to, you know, piece old stuff like that out. But you know,
all right, boys. Well, I enjoyed our show tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Pleasure as always.
Always, yeah.
It was fun. It was a little more freestyling. So
yeah, that's right. I like freestyling. That's pretty fun. Well, you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon. All right.
I guess.
See you, Johnny. See you, Wes.
See you.